Greg Sankey wants to protect regional ties, and I'm not sure why. Regional tie is Tennessee Vanderbilt. Would you rather see Tennessee play Vanderbilt or a home and home series with Ohio State? And that was a pretty special scene. But Sankey wants to protect regional ties. Caleb, what's the thinking here?
All right, so what Greg Sankey said, he was talking about, he was really doing a selling point for the SEC versus other conferences. And I want to read the full quotes. So, because he was asked if regional rivalries are still a fabric of college football and college athletics in general. And he said, I think it's still real. I think what we've done in the Southeastern Conference is taken a sport that was historically based regionally, and we've elevated ourselves nationally and even internationally from an interest standpoint. We have a Netflix opportunity that will emerge in July. It has a global reach to it. We want to continue to build. But I was just on radio talking about
the Netflix opportunity.
That I have no idea. I haven't actually done the research on that. I need to.
Oh, okay. That's big. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I saw Southeastern Conference behind the scenes docuseries is coming to Netflix in the fall. This is going to be worldwide. That's what it is. Okay. So he adds that you can get from one end of the league to another on an airplane in 2 hours. When we expanded, we added 10 minutes to a flight. Others are going coast to coast. He says his messaging is be where your feet are. And he says, improve what's around you. And he says you should improve what's around you rather than just to expand. And then he added, I've been in the airport in Dallas and Chicago watching other conferences, volleyball teams it was last fall, transiting the conference. That's not the way we're functioning. I think if you want to challenge yourself at a high level, spend your time in academic commitments and athletic preparation rather than on airplanes, there's now one place to be, and that's the Southeastern Conference. And his point is, whatever else you want to say about the SEC states, the SEC is very congruent. All the states touch each other, and you can fly from any SEC town to another within 2 hours. Whereas, you're right, with the Big Ten, USC has to go play Rutgers on a Tuesday night in volleyball sometimes, and they got to go fly to New Jersey in the middle of a school week.
Yeah, that's, to me, silly. I understand why they did it, and it seems to be working out for them, but it's very silly. Tennessee is a very unique school in this situation. Like, I don't ever want to see Auburn, Alabama go off the schedule, right?
Well, Auburn's been off the schedule.
No. Auburn and Alabama.
Oh, Auburn, the Iron Bowl. Yes.
I don't ever want to see that fall off. Is there really a rivalry that Tennessee has that you think needs to be beholden and beloved to the point that you wouldn't go play a big name school like a Michigan, Ohio State, a Notre Dame? I mean, Alabama, yes, is that rivalry, but Georgia has come and gone. Florida has come and gone. And Alabama's biggest rival is Auburn. So Tennessee's a unique school in that situation.
Yes. Let's break down quick the rivalries that I think have to stay no matter what happens with the SEC, based on what you're talking about. Alabama, Auburn, you're right. Can't ever go off the schedule, right?
Agreed.
I don't care that it's at a smaller level. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, the Egg Bowl should always be played, and it should always be played on Thanksgiving.
But now, what are we? Like, you got to tell me what kind of world of college football are we in? Are we talking about the current world of college football, or are we talking about what you and I think will happen? There's going to be an AL-NL with the Big Ten and the SEC.
What you and I think will happen, but Ole Miss and Mississippi State are going to be in that AL-NL.
Okay, but I don't know that that's – I love the Egg Bowl. Don't get me wrong. I don't know that that's untouchable. If you're Mississippi State, you'd probably prefer to play a bigger name school from the Big Ten. You'd get more pub nationally.
That game has a lot of meaning in that state. It's a huge deal. So
I don't want to downplay it, but in the interest of growing the game, I don't think that's an untouchable one. I guess where I am is Auburn, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State. Those are about the only two that I think are untouchable. I mean, I don't want Tennessee, Alabama to go away, but if it did, for the betterment of the game and the growth of the game, I don't think it would be the end of the world. Am I crazy?
Well, okay, look, conferences, what people don't realize is a bunch of great rivalries in the past have gone by the wayside in the past. Like, that's nothing new in college football, right? Historically. And you are right. Those are probably the only two untouchables. I don't think there's ever a scenario where Mississippi State, Ole Miss would go away, though. But I was just giving that as an example. Like the three, to me, that if I were to rank SEC games that need to stay, Auburn, Alabama's number 1, Mississippi State, Ole Miss is number 2, Tennessee, Alabama's number 3, Florida, Georgia's number 4. That's like my top 4 I don't want to see ever go away of rivalries in the SEC.
You know, one that's kind of turned into a rivalry that I enjoy is the LSU Florida game.
Yeah, I agree, but I'd rather Florida, Georgia than LSU, Florida.
Yeah, but it was it would definitely be 5th at best on your list.
Yeah,
no, I'm not putting it among the other ones, and it was kind of a nouveau riche rivalry as well.
It was. So like, but you're right. If you reformat these divisions, you could have new rivalries. Like if one day someone just decided Tennessee, Virginia Tech is going to be an arch rivalry, I think we'd all love it because Tennessee, Virginia Tech should be natural rivals. Look at Arkansas, Missouri. That's a natural rivalry in football. Arkansas, Missouri is a natural border rivalry. So new rivalries are formed. And you guys know I'm a tough critic of Greg Sankey. I think Greg Sankey I think he likes the AL-NL idea of the SEC and Big Ten. I don't think he likes the incongruency of what the Big Ten has done. I'll just be honest.
Oh, what? I think he hates it. And I can't tell if he hates it because it puts more pressure on him or if he's jealous. But no, I can tell you he hates it. At SEC Media Days, when it all came out that the Big Ten was doing that, we talked to him about it. And he was, he thinks it's important for it to be congruous touching states. And I think that's significant too. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I know the Big Ten wanted to expand their television reach, and that's why they did this. But again, you mentioned a volleyball game on a Tuesday night, a 4-hour flight. That's bizarre.
Yeah, it's absolutely bizarre. It's kind of ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, and David brings up a good one. Texas and OU can't go away.
They can't go. But Texas and Texas A&M went away when Texas A&M first joined the SEC. That rivalry wasn't played for 10 years, and that was a huge rivalry in college football history. So rivalries go away. I mean, you brought up Michigan, Ohio State. Look, I think Army Navy can go away. Hate me. It's a waste of time, and it's a waste of a Saturday. But I know I know some come across as unpatriotic and a commie when I say that. But yeah,
this is the second day in a row you've been accused of being a communist.
That's true. You're right.
This Red Scare. What's going on?
You know what's funny? For about 10 years, my favorite team in baseball was the Cincinnati Reds.
Commie.
I think that
Caleb Castro on the program.
Commie Caleb Calhoun Castro. Just that's my full name now.
What other rivalries are just? I mean, I would say USC, UCLA.
That's still there though, because they're both in the Big Ten.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, what other rivalries are just untouchable? There's only, I think, about 10.
Yeah, no, you're right. Okay, and here's the thing. I guess because of basketball, Duke UNC, is that untouchable just because is that the one basketball rivalry that you would keep no matter what?
Yes.
Okay.
That
Duke,
game
UNC.
almost now I don't like conference tournaments, but if they're playing, I will watch that. Because it seems like more than any other sport, tell me I'm wrong, but more than any other sport or any other matchup, the Duke UNC game delivers more times than not. Does it not? Like
it does.
Great finish or something crazy happens. I go out of my way to watch that game.
I do too. No, I'm actually with you on that. I mean the ones out west we're not as familiar with, but I don't know, like Arizona State, Utah, like or Arizona State, like Stanford, Cal. Is that on that list?
No.
Okay, so you're ditching Stanford, Cal.
I was close to ditching USC, UCLA because people don't care about football in California altogether. So I'm definitely not keeping Cal Stanford.
Yeah, but that's like an academic rivalry. Like they should have it. They said that would be the greatest decathlon rivalry. That's probably a huge decathlon rivalry, isn't it?
Look at my guy Daniel. I'm an Army vet myself. Thanks for your service, sir. But could care less about Navy Army. Ouch. Backing.
Daniel, I love you. Love you, Daniel. This is
okay. But now David brings up, if we want to get into basketball, we can. But Louisville, Kentucky, Indiana, Purdue. Now, I agree with those, but let's kind of stick on football here for a second. I think we've about exhausted all of them.
I think we have.
Unless you want to say Oregon State, I'm sure that means a lot to them.
Yeah, but they're not even in the same conference anymore. Oregon-Washington is officially a bigger rivalry since they're both in the Big Ten.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how many sacred rivalries are there?
Very few. And very, very, very few. And also but see, this is where Greg Sankey doesn't acknowledge he's part of the problem. The more you expand a playoff, the less sacred these rivalries are. Dave, Ohio State just lost to Michigan. They got very offended by it. It wrecked their morale. They got upset with Michigan planting the flag in midfield. And then they went and won a national title. Now, I get it. They won the national. You can lose rivalry games and go win a title. That's how it works. Doesn't something feel a little off about Ohio State being national champions, though, when they lost to Michigan in the regular season? Doesn't something about that feel off?
Yeah. No, the whole, I mean, we have to view football in a totally different lens. Dylan brings up a good one. USC, Notre Dame. Unsung says, my dad is a Navy vet, and he cheers for Navy. Sorry. And then the response from Daniel is, LOL, 101st Airborne, don't care, go Vols. We're not going to make this a battle among the armed forces because Caleb and I are both too soft to serve. Would you agree with that, Caleb?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. So we're too soft to serve, so we're not going to take sides.
I am a consistent person, though. When I was of age to serve, the war the United States was in at the time, I was opposed to the war. At least, what I don't like are people who support the war, but they don't go fight. You know what I'm talking about? Like, if you want the United States to go to war, you should go fight.
I guess I don't want to get too deep into that. Let me ask Daniel this, because this is what I've been told, and I don't know that this is true. My dad's a Marine, but I've been told that that the Army waits for the Marines to show up and tell them what to do. Is that true? Daniel, help me on that. Dylan with another good one. Dylan's throwing heat. Clemson, South Carolina. You have to keep Clemson. I would put that in my top 10. Clemson.
Yeah, okay. Clemson, South Carolina. I would love for Florida State to mean more with them to be in the same conference. But here's the thing. Wait, here's my biggest question. And actually, this is because someone said USC Notre Dame. Because this is getting to the root of regional rivalries. Because we're talking about Greg Sankey and regionalism. If you talk about untouchables, because I think the burden of proof is on the rivalry to be untouchable, right?
Yes.
One of the things that eliminates you from being an untouchable is if there's not a regional connection, right? Like, you have to be a border state or in the same state. Is that fair?
Yes, I can roll with that.
So USC Notre Dame can go if it has to.
Man, it looks so good though on TV, the colors and everything.
It does, but I mean, by the way, hot take.
Is there any chance that Tennessee and Alabama would both wear their dark jerseys one year? I would love that.
I don't think that. You would love it if you were back at the New Sentinel having to cover the game. You would hate everything about it.
Now, one other one David brings up: a Florida State versus Miami, or Florida State.
Of those two, Florida State, Miami should go. Florida State's a bigger rivalry.
Yeah, I would go with that one.
Yeah, Florida State.
I love it when all those teams used to play and they were so uber talented. Now, it's so much easier to travel. The kids don't stay in state. I mean, everybody recruits that area.
This is where I want regionalism to come back. I wish Florida State, and Miami could have found a way to be in the same conference and had to play each other every year.
No, I agree. Daniel, I was just playing. I know the Marines don't tell the armies what to do. He said, no, sir.
You mean Army didn't tell the Marine? Or
Marines didn't tell the Army what to do. Rangers lead the way. There we go. An Army Ranger.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Sorry. Don't they call the state troopers in Texas Rangers too?
They call the baseball team the Rangers.
I think that's based off the state troopers.